अक्षता बेळवी, अक्षता बेळवी, आनंद त्याबानी, आनंद त्याबानी, ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ರಿ. Turn on your video for a while and say yes. Okay. अंजुम बिरादर.
Present, sir.
बसवराज गडकरी, बसवराज गडकरी, बसवराज ऐनापुरे, बसवराज ऐनापुरे, भाग्यश्री मठ, भाग्यश्री मठ, भक्ति बस्तवाड़कर, भक्ति.
Present, sir.
ओके. भारती हादीमनी,
Present, sir.
video, you have to turn on your video for a while and say yes.
Present, sir.
Okay. Chetan Kumar Soldal, I need not tell it again and again. Chetan Kumar Soldal, दीपक जामदार, दीपक जामदार, दिव्या कुलकर्णी.
Yes, sir.
गढ़ प्रथमेश शिवाजी, गढ़ प्रथमेश शिवाजी, ज्योति बी ओलेकर, ज्योति बी ओलेकर, किरण लिगाडे, किरण लिगाडे, लक्ष्मीकांत कालोजी, लक्ष्मीकांत कालोजी, मानतेश पाटिल, मानतेश पाटिल, मोळे प्रेम, मोळे प्रेम, नागेश दोडशिवण्णवर, नागेश दोडशिवण्णवर, नंदीश.
Yes, sir.
पूजा पाटिल, पूजा पाटिल, प्रमोद कुमार हुंशाळ, प्रमोद कुमार हुंशाळ, प्रवीण मगदुम, प्रवीण मगदुम, प्रियंका, प्रियंका, संध्या शिरोडकर, संध्या शिरोडकर, संतोष पुजारी, संतोष पुजारी, संतोष सोनार, संतोष सोनार, शाहबाज मुल्ला, शाहबाज मुल्ला, शफिया जगदाळ.
Yes, sir.
श्रीधर सोलकंडवर,
Yes, sir.
सृष्टी बर्मनवर, सृष्टी बर्मनवर, सिद्धार्थ वर्णेकर, सिद्धार्थ वर्णेकर, सिद्धार्थ पाटिल.
Yes, sir.
Turn on your video for a while and say yes. Supriya, Supriya, okay.
Present, sir.
You have to turn on your video for a while and say yes, all of you. I did not tell it again and again. Vandana Ketagowdar.
Present, sir.
Okay. Vasant Dudmani.
Video on my
Mute your audio, mute your audio. You are recorded. Okay. Vasant Dudmani.
Present, sir.
ವೇದತ್ತ ಕಡಪಗೋಳ, ವೇದತ್ತ ಕಡಪಗೋಳ, ಯೋಗೇಶ್, ಯೋಗೇಶ್, ಮಹೇಶ್ ದೊಡ್ಮನಿ, ಮಹೇಶ್ ದೊಡ್ಮನಿ, ಬಾಳೇಶ್ ಮುಡಲ್ಗಿ.
Yes, sir.
ಬಾಳೇಶ್, तैक मोहम्मद, तैक मोहम्मद, प्रवीण राठौड़,
Yes, sir.
Abhishek Palekar,
Yes, sir.
Aishwarya Bugdikatti.
Present,
Aishwarya,
sir. Present, sir.
fine. Amanullah, Bandodkar Tanay Mohandas, Baburao More,
Yes,
Baburao.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Desai Shodhan Ashok,
Present, sir.
Javannawar Anil Kumar Shekappa, Nandkumar Patil, Pramod Kesti, Rohini Paule,
Present,
Rohini
sir.
Paule, okay,
Present, sir.
right. Rohit Alwani, Shashidhar Gaudar, Sridhar S. Badiger,
Present, sir.
okay, fine. Yes. See, just inform your classmates, ask them to attend the classes. Many of them are absent, right? Just inform them and ask them to be regular to the classes. Okay? At least from next class, we want 100% attendance. Okay? So we'll start with the presentation. Everybody, are you able to see the screen?
Yes,
Everyone?
sir.
Screen is
Yes,
clear?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
In the last class, I had explained, starting with the risk and CISC architecture. So what is risk? Full form of risk? Yes?
Reduce instruction set computer.
Very good. Reduced instruction set computer. CISC is complex instruction set computer. Correct? So we have seen the differences between RISC and CISC. RISC has few instructions, whereas CISC has more instructions, right? And RISC uses hardware approach, whereas CISC uses software approach. There are more registers in RISC, less registers set in CISC, right? Then decoding is easy in RISC, decoding is difficult in CISC. Pipelining is easier in RISC, pipelining is difficult in CISC. Okay, then RISC is used for high-end applications, CISC used for low-end applications. So these are the few of the differences that we have seen in the last class between RISC and CISC. Then after that, we went through computer software. We defined what is software, what is hardware, right? Then we took up levels of software, the different levels of software, that is hardware, the input-output subroutines, right? Operating system, then system software and application software. I mentioned that there is a startup program when you boot the computer, which does all the checking operations. It performs all diagnostic checks. It initializes memory. Okay. Then there is an operating system, which is a large collection of programs that is meant to control the computer or to perform maintenance operation of the computer, to access, manage, and effectively utilize the computer resources. Application software is a software used for the user. It is for the user purpose to perform certain specific tasks. Okay. Then system software are the software meant for the system purpose. I gave the examples of Mac operating system, Android, Windows operating system, all these. Then I had started with the 8051 architecture. So if anyone wants to study the computing machine, new computing machine, then he has to understand its ability, right? Has to become familiar with the ability of the machine, capability of the machine. So this can be done by studying the hardware of that machine, by knowing the hardware details of the machine, which we call it as architecture. So this architecture, it involves various registers, memory sizes, size of memory, and other related circuits. Then I discussed features of 8051, important from examination point of view. Features of 8051. So which are the different features here? It has 8-bit CPU registers A and B. So CPU is a central processing unit. It is having two main registers, that is A and B registers, which are of 8 bits, meant for performing arithmetical operations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay, they are mainly meant to perform the arithmetic operations. Then 8-bit program status word. Program status word is a 8-bit register. That means it can store 8 bits. This consists of 4 flags. That is carry flag, auxiliary carry flag, parity flag, and overflow flag. Carry flag is set whenever there is a carry after adding two 4-bit numbers or after adding 8-bit to 8-bit numbers. If there is a carry generated out of the MSB bit, then this carry flag will be set, indicating that there is a carry generated after the two numbers have been added. Similarly, there is auxiliary carry flag, which indicates that there is a carry after the third bit, that is D0, D1, D2, D3. If I take up till D7, all the 8 bits, right? So from D3 to D4, if there is a carry, right? Suppose say there is a 8-bit number D0 to D7. I will number the bits. First bit I will take it as D0, second bit D1, third bit D2, last bit D7, like that. So after I add two 8-bit numbers, such two 8-bit numbers, if there is a carry from the third bit to the fourth bit, if there is a carry from third bit to the fourth bit, then AC flag or auxiliary carry flag will be set. Then we have parity flag. Parity flag indicates that whether the number of bits in the data is even or odd. If the number of bits in the data is even, then we say that it is even parity, right? That is, parity flag will be set. If the number of bits are odd, then it is odd parity. So we say that the parity is 0. Overflow flag, which indicates the overflow condition. Suppose if it is a 8-bit register, if you have entered the values, say from 00 to FFH, okay, I am taking in hexadecimal, so 00 to FFH. If you have entered the values, so after FFH, the next value it will not take, because the size of the register is maximum 8 bits. It cannot hold the value which is having more than 8 bit. So once the data which is more than 8 bit is tried to store in that register, then overflow condition occurs. Overflow means just it is just like overflowing of the tank, right? So when a tank overflows, what happens? The water flows down, or the water comes down after the tank is being filled up. Is it not? So similarly, here also, after the 8-bit register is filled up with maximum 8 bits, if you want to store a 9-bit data, it will not take. It will indicate that there is a overflow condition. So overflow flag will be set. Overflow flag will be set means OV will become equal to 1. Overflow flag will become equal to 1. 1 will be stored in OV flag, okay, or OV register, single bit register it is. Clear here? Then set means storing 1, clear means storing 0. Remember this. Set means storing 1 into the register, and clear means storing 0 into the register. 8-bit stack pointer. Stack pointer is a memory. It is last in first out memory. I gave the example of placing the books on the table. The last book which you have stored, which you have kept on the table, you are removing it first. This is the concept of stack memory, last in first out memory. That means the data which you have stored last, that data we have to remove first, that data you have to read first, right? To control this operation of stack memory, there is a pointer, just as you have the pointer in C language. What is a pointer? It stores the address or the memory location. Similarly, here also the stack pointer stores the address or the memory location to store the memory location of the stack memory. 16-bit program counter and data pointer. PC is 16-bit register. Program counter stores the address of the next instruction to be executed. So whatever is the next instruction to be executed, the address of that instruction, the memory location of that instruction will be stored in PC register. Data pointer, DPTR register, it is for storing the external memory location. There are two types of memory. One is internal memory, another one is external memory. Internal memory is the memory which is present on the microcontroller chip. It is called internal memory. If the memory is present, outside the microcontroller chip, right? If it is external to the microcontroller, if there is some memory chip used, okay, exclusively, then that becomes the external memory. Fine. So this data pointer DPTR register is used to store the memory location of the external memory. 4 kilobytes of internal ROM. ROM memory is meant to store the program or the code. It is of 4 kilobytes. 128 bytes internal RAM. RAM memory, internal RAM memory. Okay. So internal RAM memory is of 128 bytes. This 128 bytes, it is organized as 4 register banks, each containing 8 registers. So 32 bytes are for 4 register banks. Among 128 byte RAM memory, 32 byte is for the 4 register banks. This register bank is nothing but it consists of 8 registers here. 8 registers, R0 to R7, and each register contains 8 bits. Each register can store maximum 8 bits. So 4 register banks and each register bank having 8 registers. So totally 4 into 8, 32 registers. 16 bytes which may be addressed at the bit level. There are 16 memory locations, 16 byte memory location. So each byte consists of 8 bits. Is it not? We can read the single bit or we can write the single bit. This is called as bit addressable. Bit addressable means we can read the single bit or we can write the single bit into that particular single bit memory location. 80 bytes of general purpose data memory. 80 bytes of general purpose memory meant for storing general purpose results. That means the 128 byte RAM memory consists of 32 bytes of register bank, 16 byte of memory meant for bit addressable memory, 80 bytes of general purpose memory. So totally add all these, 32 plus 16, 48, 48 plus 80, 128, correct? So 32 input output pins arranged as 4 8-bit ports. There are 4 ports here. Port is for sending the data into the microcontroller, that is applying the input to the microcontroller, and output port is meant to get the data, get the result from the microcontroller. So there are such 4 ports, P0, P1, P2 and P3. Each port can store maximum 8 bits. So each port is having 8 bits or 8 pins. 2 16-bit timers or counters, T0 and T1. There are 2 16-bit timers or counters. That is, timer is consisting of 16 bits. Each timer consists of 16 bits. There are 2 timers. So timer is organized as timer low and timer high. If it is 16-bit, timer low is first 8 bits. Timer high is upper 8 bits. So totally 8 plus 8, 16 bits. Fine. The timer is meant to maintain the timing and counter. The same timers are also used as a timer and also as the counter. So these counter are meant for performing the counting operations, to count the number of operations, to count the number of tasks or jobs. Serial communication interface with full duplex serial data receiver or transmitter, SBUF register. That is serial communication. There are 2 types of communication. You may be familiar with this: parallel communication and serial communication. In parallel communication, all the bits of the data are transmitted or received at the same time. Suppose say if the data is 8 bits, all the data 8 bits are transmitted at a time, or all the 8 bits are received at a time. If it is serial communication, bits are transmitted one after another. That is, first the D0 bit is transmitted, first bit, then the second bit, third bit, fourth bit, and finally the last bit. Similarly, when receiving also, first bit is received first, then second bit, third bit, and finally the last bit. There is a register called as SBUF register. This SBUF register is for storing the data which we want to transmit out from the microcontroller or the data which we want to receive into the microcontroller. Whatever data we want to transmit out of the microcontroller, that is stored in SBUF register first. And whatever data is received into the microcontroller, that is first stored in SBUF register. And then it will be sent to the required other registers. Control registers, TCON. TCON is timer control register to control the timer. TMOD is also meant for the timing purpose. Timer register, timer mode register it is. SCON is serial control register for serial communication. PCON, power control register, to double the rate at which the data bits are transmitted or received per second. To perform the doubling of the data rate, to perform the rate, doubling the data rate, suppose say the bits are transmitted at 64 kilobits per second, kilobits per second. And if you want to double it, if you want to make it 128 kilobits per second, the rate of data transmission or receiving, then you can do that by using the PCON register. IP, interrupt priority register, to set the priority for the interrupts. Interrupt, try to recollect what example I gave in the previous two classes. I gave the example of a friend asking you a pen while you are writing the notes. Right? Remember that example. So that is related to the interrupt. Then IE, interrupt enable register, it is for enabling the interrupt, to turn on the interrupt. Two external and three internal interrupt sources. There are two external interrupts which are generated out of the microcontroller. That means microcontroller will not generate that. Some other external devices will generate the interrupts. And three internal interrupt sources. That means three internal interrupts will be generated by the microcontroller itself. Oscillator and clock circuits. Oscillator and clock circuit meant to apply the clock signal or to see that all the jobs, whichever operations are being carried out by the microcontroller, are done systematically, are done correctly. Possess Boolean processing capability, that is perform the Boolean operations on single bits. Right? So these are the features of 8051 microcontroller that you all have to remember. Next comes the block diagram of 8051 microcontroller. This is the architecture of 8051 microcontroller. Is this slide visible to everyone? Yes? Is the slide visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. This is the architecture of 8051 microcontroller. Okay, we'll start with the upper block. So it has various blocks. The first block that you are seeing at the topmost is interrupt control. Interrupt control, it has two pins, INT0 and INT1. Okay, so external interrupts which are generated outside the microcontroller are applied to this block. That is, if any external device wants to interrupt the microcontroller, say the microcontroller is doing some operation. Operation means it is performing certain job, certain work, it is doing certain work. Then some external device wants to request the microcontroller saying that you do my work first. Then what the external device will do, it will send the signal, request signal to the microcontroller. Microcontroller will stop whatever it is doing and it will perform the response, or it will perform that job of that device. It will do the work for that device, requested device. This is called as interrupt or the external interrupt here. Okay, so this is the interrupt control block meant for controlling the external interrupts. Then we have the CPU, central processing unit. Central processing unit is for performing the processing operations. You all are familiar with addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, all these processing operations, Boolean operations, logical and, logical or, logical not. Okay, so all these operations are performed by the CPU using the A and B registers. Then there is an oscillator circuit which consists of the crystal and the capacitors. You are seeing the capacitors there. It is a circuit consisting of the capacitor and the crystal. So using this circuit, the oscillations are generated. It's a crystal oscillator, right? So it will generate the oscillations or the clock pulses. Using these clock pulses, the different operations of the microcontroller are synchronized. I am using the word synchronized. Synchronized means when the first operation should be performed, when second work should be performed, when the third job should be performed. So all this is taken care by the oscillator circuit. So this 8051 oscillator and clock circuit, it is heart of the 8051 microcontroller, or it is the heart of the microcontroller. Okay, then we have another pin, that is, we can also use this oscillator that is made up of crystal, or we can go for TTL clock, transistor logic clock. We can also use the TTL clock for generating the oscillations. Then one block is on-chip ROM, you can see there, for program code. So this ROM memory is for storing the code or the program. On-chip ROM for storing the program. So as I mentioned, what is the size of the ROM memory? It is 4 kilobytes. Remember the features of 8051 microcontroller. So ROM is 4 kilobytes. Then there is a bus control. Bus control is having 2 buses. So you know that bus is nothing but which is the set of electrical signals or set of electrical wires, right? Here there are 2 types of bus. One is address bus and data bus. Address bus and data bus. Data bus is meant for transmitting the data to different blocks of the microcontroller and to receive the data from different blocks. Address bus is for sending the address information to which memory location the data has to be stored, or from which memory location the data is to be read, from which memory location I have to read the data. Right? All this is controlled by the bus control block. Then there is on-chip RAM memory. RAM is random access memory. It is a volatile memory. Is it not? It is read-write memory. We can read the data from this memory and also we can write it into it. So it is a RAM memory. It is of 128 bytes. Just now we discussed that RAM memory. Then there are 4 IO ports, P0, P1, P2, P3. Each IO port is having 8 pins. So there are 8 into 4, 32 input output pins, right? To input the data into the microcontroller and to take the result, get the result. Okay, output the result out from the microcontroller. Fine. And P0 is the port which is having dual purpose. That is, it is meant for transmitting the data and also it is used for sending the lower address byte. So it is having 2 purposes. It is called dual purpose. The data is also sent on port P0 and the address or the memory location lower byte, to which memory location the data has to be stored, or from which memory location I am reading the data. So the lower byte of the memory location is also stored on the port P0. Data and also the memory location is stored on port P0. P1 is dedicated port. Dedicated means it just does the job of only inputting the data to microcontroller and getting the output from the microcontroller. It will not do any other task. Okay, it is single purpose. Okay, it is called as dedicated. P2 is also dual purpose. It is for inputting the data and outputting the data, and also it stores the higher byte of the memory location. Let us say the memory location is 16 bits. Okay, so memory location is 16 bits always, and remember data in 8051 microcontroller is always 8 bits. Okay, so we say that the 8051 microcontroller is 8-bit microcontroller. Okay, somebody asks you how many bits microcontroller is 8051. So you have to say it is 8-bit microcontroller. How it is decided? It is decided based on the data bus. Okay, so the data bus that is used is of 8 bits in 8051 microcontroller, and the address bus is of 16 bits. So based on this, we decide that, or we say that that is how that 8051 is considered as 8-bit microcontroller. Okay, then the higher byte of this 16-bit memory location is also stored on port P2. It stores the data and the higher byte of the memory location. Okay, lower byte means lower 8 bits, higher byte means upper 8 bits. This 16-bit memory location. Fine. Then P3 is again for storing the information, for inputting and outputting the data. Clear here? Let us see that P3 will come to that next. In the next slide, I will be showing the alternate functions of port P3. It is having dual functions. Then we have the timer block here. So timer is meant for performing the timing operations. That is, it maintains the timing at what time the data has to be sent out, received. Okay, what should be the time lapse between 2 operations? how many pulses are being sent out, or what are the number of operations that are carried out, count of the number of operations. So all this is controlled by the timer block, right? It has two timers, timer 0 and timer 1. Each timer is of 16 bits. So to control the timer, there are two input pins, T1 and T0. Then there is a serial port. TXT and RXT are the pins for controlling the serial operation, serial communication with the 8051 microcontroller. If we want to transmit the data, then this TXT pin will become high. One will be stored in this TXT pin, on this TXT pin, indicating that the microcontroller is transmitting out to the external device. If RXT pin is set high, it means that the microcontroller is receiving the data. So this is meant for controlling the serial communication. Fine, students. So we'll see that alternate. Are you familiar now? I hope everybody have understood the 8051 architecture. This is important from examination point of view. It's a sure question in examination. Okay. Repeatedly, it has been asked in examination, 8051 architecture. So it's almost a sure question. We'll take up the pin diagram, then I will explain the alternate functions of the port 3. Here in this pin diagram, as you can see, it is a 40-pin IC. It is a 40-pin IC. The first 8 pins are for port 1. First 8 pins, what you are seeing is for port 1, P1.0. It is how it is written. P1.0. Port 1 is 8 bits. So 1.0 means the 0th bit, first bit of port 1. P1.1 means the first bit. Second bit, P1.3. Similarly, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7. So 1.7 means it is which bit? 7th bit or 8th bit? Yes? Anybody? P1.7 means it is 7th bit, 8th bit. Very good. Very good. Yes. It is 8th bit. Okay, MSB. Then RST is for resetting the microcontroller. To reset the microcontroller means all the activities of the microcontroller will be stopped. When a high pulse is applied to this RST pin by the microcontroller, what will happen? The microcontroller will stop all the activities. Okay. Then we have the RXT pin. Next, P3.0. It is for inputting and outputting the data, and also it is serving for the receiving of the data. RXT. That's what I discussed with the architecture just now. Then similarly, P3.1, it is for inputting the data and also outputting the data, and then for transmitting for similar serial communication. If serial communication has to take place, then this pin has to be set. That is, you have to store 1 on this pin. Then only you can perform the serial communication, transmitting the data from the microcontroller to the external device. Then we have interrupt pins, external interrupt pins, INT0 and INT1, P3.2 and P3.3, that is pin number 12 and 13, meant for external interrupts. Then timer pins T0 and T1 for 2 timers, 2 16-bit timers, pin number 14 and 15. Then WR bar, this is for writing the data into the microcontroller. If write bar, it is active low signal, you can see there. If it is active low, if we activate this by sending a 0 to this, the write operation into the microcontroller will start. We can store the data into the memory of the microcontroller. Then when RD bar pin is activated, you can read the data from the 8051 microcontroller. Then we have the Xtal2 and Xtal1 pins. Just now I explained that the oscillator pins, oscillator and clock pulses. So the crystal is connected and the capacitors are connected to this Xtal2 and Xtal1 pins to generate the oscillations. The crystal frequency, the frequency at which the crystal vibrates in 8051 microcontroller is 11.0592 megahertz. Please note this. The frequency at which the crystal oscillates in 8051 microcontroller is 11.0592 megahertz. The ground pin is for grounding the microcontroller. It has a circuit to ground the microcontroller, okay, along with the VCC, in combination with VCC. It has a circuit to ground the circuit. Then coming with the pin number 21 to 27, pin number 21 to 28, pin number 21 to 28, therefore port 2 pins, P2.0 to P2.7. Therefore, sending the data, receiving the data, and also they store the higher byte of the address. That's what I told in the previous discussion. Port 0 stores the lower byte of the address, right? Port 2 stores the higher byte of the address. So port 0 stores from A0 to A7. I'll come to that next. Then port 2 stores A15 to A8. A means A stands for address. D stands for data. Are you following here, students? Yes. Then next pin is PSEN bar, program store enable bar. Program store enable bar is to store the program into the memory location. If you want to store the program into the external memory location, then you have to activate this pin, PSEN bar. You have to store 0 on this pin so that you can store the program into the external memory location. Pin number 30 is ALE bar, programmable pin. ALE is address latch enable. Address latch enable is it performs the operation of multiplexing. So I'm using the word multiplexing here. Multiplexing means, that is what I'm telling here. That is, if you want to store the data into the memory location of the microcontroller, you have to first send the address. You have to know the address at which you want to store the data into the microcontroller. So how will you come to know that address? By knowing the address information. To whichever memory location you want to store the data, that memory location you have to send on port 0 and port 2. You have to send the lower byte of memory location, that is A7 to A0 on port 0. Then higher byte of address or higher byte of memory location of 16-bit memory location, higher byte A15 to A8 on port 2. Then send the data on port 0. So this concept is called as multiplexing. We have used the word multiplex or multiplexer, right? You have studied this in your digital system design in your second year level, correct? So there we are applying 2 inputs, we are getting a single output. So we are multiplexing there, 2 input or more than 2 input and 1 output. So similarly here we are sending the address information on port 0 and port 2, and also the data is sent on port 0. So port 0 is holding not only the address information, but it also stores the data information. You may ask me how this is possible. In the first memory cycle, first the address information is sent. Now on port 0, first lower byte of memory location is sent, and on port 2, higher byte of memory location is sent. Then in the second memory cycle, right, clock cycle, the data information is sent on port 0. So this is how it performs the operation of reading the data from the memory location or storing the data into the memory location. So this is called as address latch enable pin or the multiplexing concept. Then EA bar, external access bar or VPP. So EA bar is for storing the data into the external memory location. If you want to store the data into the external memory location, you have to activate both EA bar and PSEN bar. Then only you can store the data into the external, that is outside the microcontroller. Some memory which is outside the microcontroller, you can store the data into that memory location. Correct? So that is EA bar. Then P0 pin, that's port 0 pin, P0.02, P0.7. As I told, it is carrying both address information and data information. A stands for address, D stands for data. So if it is AD0, that means A0, D0. AD1 means A1, address bit 1, D1, data bit 1. ED2, address bit 2, then data bit 2, like that. Are you following here? So that is, it carries both the address information and the data information. Then VCC, it is the power supply pin, which is plus 5 volts applied to the 8051 microcontroller to energize the microcontroller to carry out all its operations. Fine, students. So this is the pin diagram of 8051. Remember, 8051 microcontroller is 40 pin IC, and you have to also remember the pins. What is the function of each pins of the 8051 microcontroller? That is what I have explained here. All it is nothing but the pin diagram explanation. So VCC is pin 40, ground is pin 20, XTAL1 and XTAL2 clock pins. RST is pin 9, which will reset and terminate all the activities. EA is external access pin 31, PSEN program store enable, ALE address latch enable pin number. That is IO ports. Port 0 is pin 32 to 39. Okay, it is multiplexing concept. Port 1 dedicated IO port, port 2 dual purpose, port 3 that is pin number 10 to 17, it is also dual purpose. So these are the description of the port 3. As I told just now, port 3 is having alternate functions or more than one function, port 3 pins. P3.0 is for receiving the data, and also it performs the input output operations. P3.1 transmitting the data and input output. P3.2 external interrupt 0, input output. P3.3 external interrupt 1, input output. right? So input output holds for all the pins of port 3. So P3.4 is timer or counter 0 external input. P3.5 is timer or counter 1 external input. P3.6 is external data memory write stroke. So if you want to perform the writing operation into external data memory, so that is what I told. We have to enable this pin, write bar pin. P3.7 reading the data from the external memory, RD bar pin. It is P3.7, and what you are seeing in the next column is bit address. That means the memory location where P3.0 bit is stored is B0H in 8051 microcontroller. Okay. Similarly, P3.7 is stored in B7H memory location. It is a single bit pin or a single bit register. Fine. Then we'll take up this memory organization in the next class. Okay. So what all we discussed, students, in today's session? Yes, please. We started with the features of 8051 microcontroller. Then I have explained block diagram of 8051 microcontroller. Correct. We have taken up various blocks of 8051 microcontroller. Right. Then I discussed pin diagram or pin description of the 8051 microcontroller. What is the function of each pins of 8051 microcontroller, and finally the alternate functions of port 3. Fine, students. So any questions here from the student side? Any questions? Yes. Whatever we discussed in today's class, any questions? Yes, please. Students, any questions? I hope everybody have understood, right? Yes, students.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any questions? Any questions, please? If you have any questions, you can ask and get your doubts cleared. Yes. Yes, please. Any questions?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. So I hope everybody have understood. If there are any questions, you can ask me. I will clear your doubts. So I hope everybody have understood them, right? So refresh these topics, right? I'll be sending the recording of this. I'll send it to you all. Okay, go through this. If you have any doubts, any questions, you can come back in the next class and you can ask the questions. Okay, in the next class also, you are welcome to ask the questions, right? So with this, we'll wind up the session then. Okay, thank you.